Welcome to the Embrace Strength podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Crocker. I am an experienced trainer and active life professional. I work with people who are struggling with nagging pain to get back to the activities they love without fear of re-injury. This podcast is here to educate and provide value to you on all things health, fitness, staying active, and personal development. Let's dive in. Hello. Welcome back to the pod. I'm excited about today's episode. I sent out an email about this today, and I'm like, this would be a great podcast episode. So I'm going to talk about it, and that is 2 strength tests I always do with knee pain clients. And I'll obviously go into a little bit more depth here on the pod than I did in my email, but why I wanted to share about this topic is that so often I find with people who deal with knee pain, they think it's like just about the knee. Oh, something's wrong with my knee. And 99% of the people I work with knee pain, it is not just about the knee. It's about something going on either above or below the knee, either a mobility issue or strength issue or both. And the knee is picking up the slack for those strength imbalances or weaknesses, okay? And so if you're only looking at your knee when it comes to like, oh, why is my knee hurting? Then you're missing a really large chunk of the picture. So I do way more than 2 strength tests with my knee pain clients, but like 2 specifically I want to share with you, and then you can even try them on your own as well. So first off is we always do some box step-ups. Now, I will say I am like a form psychopath when it comes to step-ups, all right? Like I see so many people do these wrong and incorrectly when this is probably one of like the top 5 movements I think people could do for their lower bodies if you do them correctly. So the tips that I give people for doing box step-ups are push through the working leg as much as possible, very minimal push off from the opposite leg, so that working leg can just do all the work and let the working leg do all the work all the way up the box, no double stepping at the top. And you want to make sure your knee is not weaving in and out as you are doing this as well. So when I am watching people do these, if they are making those mistakes I just mentioned, they're doing a double step, there's a lot of push off from the other leg, I reduce the height because it's obviously like too hard for them to do correctly. So I have them reduce the height to an amount they can do such good reps and with good form on both legs. And then we go about finding some weight to load it up a little bit. Okay, so once you find your good height, and like when it comes to box height, quote unquote standard you can use is like a box that's a little bit higher than your kneecap is technically a standard height for you. Okay, so that can give you some idea. But again, like I said, if you like start doing that height and the form is off, you're pushing off all these things, like just lower the height and like see where you're at. The whole purpose of doing strength testing like this is to just simply see where your body's at. So there should be no like ego or shame involved, because when you're just doing testing, you're getting information so that you can get better. And we truly have to find what I call like a person's basement with their movement so that we can rebuild. And so I think that like ego can get in the way a lot of times with a movement like this. But anyways, so once you got the height figured out, we're going to find a dumbbell weight that feels medium / heavy. And we do a few reps on each side. So you can do this with either 1 dumbbell or 2 dumbbells, like dumbbell in each hand, 1 dumbbell in one hand, or hold a dumbbell in front of your chest, like goblet style. But the key is when you have the weight, you have to pay attention to your form as well. So it should be a medium heavy weight, but if your form starts to go, then it's too heavy. So then we're lowering it a little bit. So it's that delicate dance of like, okay, we want it to be difficult, but not so difficult that your form breaks down. So we're just trying to find like really good clean form, medium heavy. And then once you find that, you're going to do a true max effort set on each leg. Now, if you don't have a coach watching you, you're going to really have to be super aware of what's happening. I would recommend videoing yourself if you are doing this by yourself, so that you can look back and like see what it actually looked like and just count the good reps. So like once your form starts to go, you start making any of those mistakes I mentioned earlier, then you need to like stop counting your reps. So if like on rep 7, you did a double step, or your form started to go to shit, or you really pushed off with that other leg. Okay, we got 6 good reps for that leg. Okay, so you're going max effort till you can't anymore, or until your form breaks down. You're by yourself. Take a video and just count the good reps. Rest until recovered, and then do the same thing on your other leg. Now, and remember, like I said, record both sides so you can also like see what it looks like. And this test reveals so much about somebody's leg strength and also just like how they move in general, form breakdown and all these things. But what I find a lot of times with knee pain is like when we do this test, one leg is at least 50 to 75% weaker than the other leg, or sometimes 100%. And like, that's a lot, right? So when you think about, even just the way, walking, if we're walking and we got one leg that's that much weaker than the other, the other leg's going to be picking up the slack. Over time, that can result in some irritation on the opposite side. So it usually relates to knee pain. Now, it doesn't always end up like this where they're like completely uneven, but I'm just saying I have seen it quite like many times. So I find that test super helpful. And then the second test we always do is half kneeling adductor raises is like what I call these. But basically you are on all fours and then you're going to straighten out one leg. All right. And you're going to lift that leg that's straight up and bring it back down. You're going to do that for reps. Okay. So you're not trying to lift it up a certain height or anything. We're just trying to see like, okay, how hard is this? What does this feel like? Now, for some of you, this might be too easy of a movement and we have to do a more advanced version of looking at similar muscle groups. But like for people who have very weak lateral hips, very weak inner thighs, this movement is literally so hard. So it can also reveal a lot. So I'll literally just have clients do between 5 and 8 reps on each leg with this. I'm taking a look. Okay, is there how much? All right, sorry. I really don't want to stop the podcast. Murph. Hey, Murph, come here. Murph, come here. Up here. Sorry, I'm not editing my podcast right now. Murph, come here. Up here. Murph, come up here. Okay, sorry. I'm not editing my podcast right now, and I don't want to, so I'm not cutting that out. But what I was saying about the half kneeling raise is, 5 to 8 reps or so. I'm looking at, okay, how difficult is this? Can you rate this on a scale of 1 to 10, like how difficult this is? Is their foot actually getting off the ground? How high? Where do they feel the movement? Is there any compensation or shifting in order to get the leg up? These are the things that I'm looking at. Or it might be super easy, and I'm like, okay, I'll give them a harder test to look at their lateral hip strength and their adductor strength. So anyways, that is, the second movement I was going to share with you guys. Now, like I said, I do way more than just 2 strength tests with knee pain clients, but these 2 in particular can reveal a lot. So, again, if you're like doing these by yourself, record your movement, look at, watch yourself, slow down the video, look for compensations. I know you don't have a coaching eye, but sometimes just looking at like what your body's actually doing can be super helpful. So anyways, I hope you learned something. I hope you learned that, knee pain is not always just about the knee. And if you did learn something, I would love it if you shared this episode with your friend, your gym buddy, somebody that is close to you, because I want to get my message out to more people and would love it if you subscribe to the show. And come hang out with me on Instagram if you're not already. My handle is Coach Ashley 127. I'll put the link in the show notes. All right, talk to you next time.